The Wheel and Butterfly, written by Justice 3442. It's good.
This is chapter 12 and a half. It's epilogue of part 2.
Hey, shut up, I'm the narrator. Part 2, Dan versus Pinkie Pie, epilogue, read by Justice 3442 and Justice 3442.
I don't think that's right.
Hey, shut up. Dan awoke with an irritated grumble, sitting up in bed and rubbing his eyes. Mr. Mumbles, likewise, sat up from her spot curled next to Dan, stretched, and jumped off the bed. It had taken a while, but he had gotten used to the near-constant noise of the firing range across the street. What was new was the sounds of whimpering from his living room that now accompanied all the gunfire. He would have simply closed the door, but that would also mean shutting Mr. Mumbles off from her litter box in the bathroom. Clad in a black jerk shirt and white boxers with thin red vertical stripes, Dan made his way through the open door into the living room. Mr. Mumbles was sitting in front of a white, quivering, box-shaped thing that was leaning against the couch. She looked up at Dan with a short, meow. Dan examined the scene. Pinkie had obviously removed the couch cushions and arranged the three around herself as some sort of crude barrier while covering herself with a sheet. Dan sighed at how absolutely pathetic it all looked. Pinkie slowly removed the sheet from over her head, revealing her curly pink hair, bandaged forehead, and an evening attire consisting of pink pajamas. She looked up at Dan with her big blue eyes, fright having set shop in them from the constant gunfire. Hi, Dan, she stammered out. Did I? A shot from a higher caliber weapon rang out, causing Pinkie to give a startled yee and flinch. Did I wake you? I'm sorry, I'll try to cut my hands over my mouth.
What the heck do you call this?
Dan said in a rather irritated tone of voice, motioning with both hands to the three couch cushions Pinkie had arranged around herself. Pinkie looked down. Fort Pinkie Pie? She offered, looking back up at Dan with a sheepish smile. Dan smacked his palm against his face and shook his head.
This is just sad.
He disturbed the structure with his foot, causing it to topple around Pinkie. Pinkie's lower lip quivered as she clutched the sheet around her. She began to tear up slightly. Dan walked off back into his bedroom, grumbling. There was a grunt of Dan straining, a muffled thump, and Dan slowly emerged, dragging his mattress behind him. Pinkie looked up in confusion.
Move!
Dan commanded.
And get that crate out of the way while you're at it.
Pinkie quickly grabbed the couch cushions and pushed Dan's makeshift coffee table out of the way as Dan plopped the mattress in front of the barren couch.
Great,
Dan said, his tone turning to something a bit calmer and even.
Now help me move the foosball table. I think it'll make a perfect entrance.
Pinkie gleefully helped Dan arrange furniture. Cushions, throw pillows, blankets, and sheets until the two had arranged everything into a respectable-looking mini-structure inside the apartment. Once Fort Dan Pie was complete, the two crawled under the foosball table and onto the mattress, a blanket and a pillow each. Dan yawned and rolled over, pulling his cover to himself. Facing the wall composed of random bits of wooden furniture and throw pillows, he sleepily called out,
Good night, Pinkie.
Pinkie sat up for a second, regarding Dan with her eyes. Dan? She quietly asked. Dan turned his body to face her, his emerald green eyes searching for her sky blue ones in the darkness.
Yeah, Pinkie?
He replied. Pinkie smiled warmly. You're the best. Dan smiled up at her.
I know.
Mr. Mumbles trotted in from the entrance and curled up in between the two. Pinkie Pie leaned her head on the pillow facing Dan and quickly fell asleep, the fear of the gunfire having been defeated by Dan's kind act. Dan also drifted off facing Pinkie. Soon he was in a deep, serene sleep, the most peaceful rest he'd had in many, many years.